And Imam Ghazali, Hujjatul Islam, a great mufakkir of Islam, when he was asked about the interpretation of life, and he explained it very beautifully. Because if you give this a place in your heart and mind, then this could bring a revolution in your life. He explains, and he was a great scholar, Hujjatul Islam, the proof of Islam, great scholar of Islam, great Sufi scholar. He says that his interpretation of life is, imagine a person who is being chased by a lion and he is running in the jungle, and then he sees a hole in the ground whilst he is being chased. He jumps into that hole, maybe it is a disused well. Whilst he is falling into that well, he notices there is a rope dangling. He holds on to that rope because he doesn't want to fall to the bottom of the well. And when he looks at the bottom of the well, he sees a huge snake with its mouth gaping open. He looks up and the lion has reached the top of the well. At the mouth of the well, the lion is waiting. He looks down, there is a poisonous huge snake waiting to consume him, to bite him, and to eat him. And whilst he is holding on to the rope, he notices there are two mice at the top. And they begin to gnaw at the rope. There is a white mouse and a black mouse. And they are both biting at that rope, eating it away. And whilst he is looking at all that, he also notices a honeycomb. And there is honey seeping out from the honeycomb. So he stretches out his arm and begins to touch the honey and rub the honey onto his fingers and begins to eat that. After he's given his interpretation of life, Sayyidina Imam Ghazali, the person, asked him the question. He says, I don't understand, can you please explain? He says, yes, the lion who is chasing the man, that lion is symbolic of the angel of death. The angel of death, he is pursuing us, he is chasing us throughout our life until our appointed time comes. And the snake at the bottom of the well, that is your grave, which we cannot escape. And the rope that we are holding on to, the man was holding on to, that is life. And each day, each night, life is getting shorter. The white mouse is symbolic of the day and the black mouse is symbolic of the night. So the day and night is eating away at the rope of life. And we are too busy engaged in our desires. The honey that he tries to eat and consume, those are our desires, and we forget about death, we forget about the grave, we forget about life being, becoming short on a daily basis, and we are too preoccupied in fulfilling our desires, irrespective of whether those desires are lawful or unlawful. We are just too busy, consumed by that, preoccupied by fulfilling those desires. But our Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he says that you should remember death at least 20 times daily, and this will remind you of the purpose of this life, which is to live and to comply with the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to abstain from sinning. This is why he said, frequently remember the destroyer of pleasures. أَكْبِرُوا ذِكْرَ هَذِمِ اللَّذَّاتِ يعني الموت. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to prepare for our death, for our akhirah, because the first stage of the akhirah, it begins from the point of death. And it is also mentioned in the hadith that man mata faqad qamat qiyamah, that whoever has died, then his qiyamah, his accountability for him, judgment day has begun. Because he will have a miniature form of judgment day when he will be questioned in the grave regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regarding the deen, and regarding his belief about Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it is imperative that we start to prepare for our akhirah and remind our loved ones also to prepare. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me and you the tawfiq wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.